So, all the students, welcome to the chapter we are going to discuss, that is the chemical equilibrium. So, chemical equilibrium from exam point of view is actually very useful chapter. Many times the question are framed from this only. So, from NEET point of view, for the JEE mains and advanced point of view, as well as the other competitive exam point of view, this chapter is relatively easy and also scoring. So, when we discuss for a chemical equilibrium, for that we have to understand about the reaction. So for a reaction, normally what happen in a given reaction? Simply we can say our reactant is R. R stands for the reactant. Right? It is converting into the product P. So P stands for the product here. So reactant is changing into product. So after a certain time interval, by changing the temperature or pressure condition, the product is obtained, right? But actually what happens is that many reactions, they do not give the 100% product. They do not give the 100% product. So for example, R is turning into P and it has actually obtained 50%. 50% yield has been obtained. So 50% product is observed. Remaining 50% will be unreacted reactant only, right? Remaining 50% will be unreacted reactant. Means in the reaction mixture, product is there as well as the unreacted reactant is present. Both things are there. So we can say an idea here, we can write it down as practically it was observed that many reactions never go to completion. Never go to completion. In bracket we can say 100% product formation. Right? 100% product formation was not observed in that case. Right? So we can say in the reaction, some product and unreacted reactant are present in the reaction mixture. In the reaction mixture. So in the reaction mixture, certain amount of product as well as the unreacted reactant will be present in the mixture. So we can say here some of them has reacted to form the product. Other remaining means 50%, if yield is obtained means 50% product has been obtained. Remaining 50% will be the unreacted reactant will be present. So here we can say when such a stage is reached, when such a stage is reached during the reaction where the composition of the mixture, of the resultant mixture is fixed, then it is said to be attained a state of equilibrium. State of equilibrium has been attained. Means neither the reaction is going in forward direction, neither it is going for the backward direction. So in that case, it is actually existing in equilibrium only, right? So here we can say how the concept is coming in that way. Simply, when the reaction is going on, during a part period, during the time period, product has been formed, right? Reactant is changing into product. Reaction is going towards the product formation. After a time being, what happened? The amount of the reaction, product formation now is actually being slowed down. And then we are observing that whole of the reaction mixture, 50% product is there, remaining 50% will be the unreacted reaction, right? unreacted reactant is present in that case. So neither the reaction is going in forward direction, neither going in the backward direction. So that state we say as a state of equilibrium. So simply we can say honestly here that at equilibrium, the speed of forward direction is equal to the speed of backward direction. Right? So speed of forward direction if becomes equal to the speed of backward direction, then we say the reaction has attained the equilibrium condition. With some example, all things will become clear. So how to represent the equilibrium? Suppose one example we take. Here we have the nitrogen gas. Nitrogen gas reacting with 3 molecules of hydrogen gas. So normally what we see that they should form the ammonia molecule. So nitrogen gas reacting with hydrogen gas to form ammonia molecule NH3. But what happened during the course of reaction, when nitrogen and hydrogens are reacting to form ammonia, ammonia also become decomposed at a certain temperature and pressure, and again ammonia decomposed to give nitrogen gas as well as the hydrogen gas. So the state in which the product formation, that is ammonia formation as well as the nitrogen and hydrogen gas formation, is reversible. This condition we say as actually the equilibrium condition. Means the rate of formation of ammonia will become equal to the rate of decomposition of ammonia. That we say as a equilibrium condition. Right? So one more idea regarding it. Practical life example also we can discuss. So here, so we can assume, suppose here we have actually the tap, right? Here we have a tap. So tap is there, and here there is a vessel. Vessel is connected with another tap. Vessel is connected with another tap here. Right? So suppose this is a vessel. This is an open vessel, we can say. Here it is. And from this is actually here inflow. We can say water inflow is there. Water inflow is there. So now what happened during the course, we can say here the water is there. So water is coming here, and here the water is falling. Here the water is falling. Water start filling in this case. Water start filling in this case. And the water is flowing at the rate of 8 meter per second. The flow of water, rate of flow of water from this tap, it is 8 meter per second. And this one, tap is closed. So this tap is closed. What will happen? The water level will keep on rising. Water level will keep on rising in this case. Simply we can say here, right? Water level will keep on rising. Now what we are going to do, same diagram I am going to draw again. In this case, in second case, what I am going to do here is that I am going to open up the tap. I am going to open up the another tab here, so that the water will start coming out. Right? So this is the case 1. First case what we learn, water is flowing from the inflow. This one we can say tap number 1. This one we can say tap number 2. So water is coming down from tap number 1 continuously. Similarly, in this case, same tap number 1 we are creating here diagram again. Now this case is slightly different. This case is slightly different in that case. Again we have formed this one. So this open vessel fitted with another tap, tap number 2, here it is. Now in this case we have actually opened the tap. In this case we have opened the tap here. So water is filling, definitely water is filling in this case. From the tap number 1, the water is coming down here, at the speed of 8 meter per second, right? At the speed of the 8 meter per second, the water is flowing. Now this tap is actually open. So this tap is actually, tap number 2 is open. Now here the water is coming. The rate of flow of water, rate of outflow for this one is actually 3 meter per second. Here it is coming, we can say rate of inflow. Rate of inflow of water, it is 8 meter per second. Now see, here on one side the water is actually filling up, another side the water is coming down. Now tell, the level of water will rise or actually remains the same? So in this case, here it is 8 meter per second, here there is 3 meter per second. So in this case what will happen is that level of water will rise, because we can say here the rate of inflow is greater than rate of outflow. So because the rate of inflow is greater than that of rate of outflow, so water level will keep on rising. Water level will keep on rising in that case. Now third condition, okay, third case let us take the third case. So in the first case what we have learned, in this case we have learned that here we are actually letting the tap number 1 water keep on flowing at the rate of 8 meter per second, and this tap 2 we have kept it closed. So water level will continuously rise, speedily it will rise, right? Level of water will keep on rising up. In second case, that is tap number 2, here the water is flowing at the rate of 8 meter per second like previous one. In this case we have actually turned on the knob of the tap. So water will start coming out at the rate of, we have adjusted the tap in such a way that water is coming out at the rate of 3 meter per second. So here 8 minus 3, that is 5 meter per second. So still the rate of inflow is greater than that of rate of outflow. So water level will still keep on rising in this case. Now third case. So here we have the tap. Again same tap is there. Here the water is coming from this side. Same container is there, fitted with another tap. Here this is another tap has been fitted. Right. Here we have fitted the another tap here. So in this given case, what we have seen that here the rate of outflow, so rate of inflow of water is coming inside, inflow of water, here it was given 8 meter per second. So water will come out here. Actually in the case of the given one, water is coming down at the rate of 8 meter per second. So water is falling, the container is filling up in the given case, right? Now in this case, this is tap number 1, this one is tap number 2. We have adjusted this tap number 2 in such a way that rate of outflow for this one is coming out to be 8 meter per second. So rate of outflow is coming 8 meter per second. Now tell whether the level of water will rise or decrease or remain same. So in this case, what you are going to observe here is that in this case, one important thing you are observing here, the water level will not rise. Okay, the level, or we can say the water level inside the container will remain same. will remains same here, because the rate of inflow of water in tap 1 is equal to the rate of outflow of water in tap 2. So here we are observing that rate of inflow of water in tap number 1 is equal to the rate of outflow of water in tap number 2, right? So water level is neither rising neither decreasing, it is actually remaining the same. So we can say it has attained a state of equilibrium. It has attained the state of equilibrium. So here it is a continuous process. The water is definitely, it is following. So water is flowing from the tap number 1 at the speed of 8 meter, at the rate of 8 meter per second, and same amount of water is coming out at the rate of 8 meter per second. So water is following, but the level of water in this container remains same only. So we can say at equilibrium the rate of inflow is equal to the rate of outflow. Hence we say that it has attained a state of equilibrium. So this is called the state of equilibrium only. This is your concept of equilibrium. Means the rate of inflow become equal to the rate of outflow. Similarly, when we are dealing with the reactions, the rate of forward reaction will become equal to the rate of backward direction of reaction. That is actually the equilibrium case. So we can classify the equilibrium on the basis of their process. So here, next part we are going to discuss is actually the classification. So we can classify the equilibrium. Equilibrium can be classified into two types, right? So we are going to classify as first one. In this case, first one is actually the physical equilibrium. Physical equilibrium, and second one we can say simply is the chemical equilibrium. So first, here we are going to discuss about the physical equilibrium. First thing we are going to discuss about the physical equilibrium. So physical equilibrium simply we can say normally which is happening in the physical process, like ice is changing into liquid or liquid change into ice, that is actually a physical process only, right? So we can say the definition of physical equilibrium as equilibrium in physical process. Equilibrium in physical process is called physical equilibrium, right? Some example we are going to discuss for it. Example for this one, simply the ice and water change of state. So here water is there, now H2O in solid form, this is actually the ice form, and it is also in equilibrium to form water, that is liquid. So there is actually a state in which the ice formation and liquid production or liquid production into ice formation, they are in equilibrium to each other. So such states we can say this is a type of the physical equilibrium, right? This is an example of the physical equilibrium. Similarly, we can go for another one that is called the chemical equilibrium. Another one here we are going to deal is the chemical equilibrium. So whole of the chapter is based on this chemical equilibrium only, which we are going to discuss. So chemical equilibrium. So simply definition we can simplify and write it down. Chemical equilibrium can be defined as equilibrium in chemical process is called as chemical equilibrium, right? That we can say as a chemical equilibrium, right? All the chemical changes, if they are actually acting in equilibrium, that we say as a chemical equilibrium. Example for this one, we can say hydrogen gas combining with the chlorine gas, they are forming the two molecules of HCl, hydrogen chloride, or this hydrogen chloride decomposed to form hydrogen gas and chlorine gas. So this here it is actually example of the equilibrium concept. So this is an example of the chemical equilibrium. Other examples are plenty of them. We will discuss them one by one also. So here hydrogen gas combining with chlorine gas to form HCl, hydrogen chloride. Hydrogen chloride can decompose to form hydrogen gas and chlorine gas also. So this is actually an equilibrium process. And always remember, it is a dynamic in nature. So this equilibrium is dynamic in nature. So before going in depth about the chemical equilibrium, the important thing is actually the type of reaction. The important thing is type of reaction. That is useful. So next thing we are going to discuss about the types of reaction. So types of reaction we are going to discuss. First type is known as the reversible reaction. And second type we can say simply the irreversible reaction. So those reactions which cannot be reversed, they are actually known as the irreversible, and those which can be again formed back, that is actually the reversible reaction. So simply here we have to make two columns, accordingly we have to define about it. So now make two columns accordingly, and we are going to define about the reversible as well as the irreversible reaction. So comparison we are going to make about the reversible as well as the irreversible reactions. So on one side I am writing down reversible reactions, and another side I am writing down that is a irreversible reaction. So we are going to discuss about the reversible as well as the irreversible reaction. So best thing about the irreversible reaction as well as the reversible reaction, first we are going to discuss about the reversible reaction. So simply if you have to define what is a reversible reaction, the reaction which proceed in both forward and backward direction. Okay, both forward and backward direction. Such reaction we say as a reversible reaction. Means product formation is also possible as well as the reactant formation is also possible. That we say as our reversible reaction. When we defined about the irreversible reaction, the reaction which proceed in one direction, that we say as a irreversible reaction. Means reactant can form product, or product can form the reactant. That is only one direction we can say. Second point, in the reversible reaction we can say reactant form products and products form products react to form reactants again. So the reactants, they are reacting with each other, they will form the product. Same again, the product will react to form the reactant again. So this is actually the reversible way. While in case of the irreversible thing, we can say two products do not repeat again to form reactant. Means only one direction there is happening, the product does not repeat itself. Either they are forming only the product, only that will happen, or by decomposition only the reactant will happen. But they are not in reversible condition, only one direction it is. If two reactants are reacting, they will form product only. but reverse of it will not be happening in case of the irreversible reaction. Next, third point, in the reversible reaction we can say it can attain in chemical equilibrium. It can attain in chemical equilibrium. So we can say it is represented. How to represent whether the reaction is reversible or reversible? By the arrow. Okay, there is a symbol actually which indicates whether the reaction is reversible or irreversible. This arrow represents the reversible nature, right? This equilibrium arrow here, double-headed arrow, this one actually it will explains the reversibility of a given reaction. So this symbol, this arrow represents the equilibrium symbol, right? So third point here, in this case we can say it cannot attain chemical equilibrium. So it cannot attain chemical equilibrium. It is represented by we can say this arrow. So single barb arrow it is. So barb arrow formation, this is only in one direction. So hence this arrow indicates that the reaction is actually the irreversible in nature. Certain other examples we can point out, we can discuss about the fourth point also. So here in the given case we can say about it. So only one more point is there, examples. So practical life example, if you actually burn the cracker and throw on your neighbor, the neighbor won't actually collect the cracker and again make the bomb. It is not possible. So simply we can say fourth point in the reversible reaction. So examples of reversible reaction. So in that case, some example we can say, that is the reversible means the production H2 gas plus I2 gas undergoing equilibrium condition to form 2HI molecule which is in gaseous nature, or we can say the calcium carbonate undergoing reaction. So calcium carbonate in the closed vessel, okay, closed system. Calcium carbonate solid form, in closed container they will form calcium oxide which is solid in nature plus carbon dioxide formation. So this reaction will show the reversible nature in the closed system. If we actually burn the calcium carbonate, decomposition of calcium carbonate if done in open system, the carbon dioxide gas will evolve. So that will becomes the irreversible condition. So remember, whenever the calcium carbonate is heated in the closed system, then it will show the reversible nature. Otherwise, it will show the irreversible nature. So fourth point, example of irreversible reaction. Right? So first example we can say precipitation reaction. Precipitation reactions. Example, in that way we can take. So precipitation reaction means very, very fast reaction. It is always one direction. So we can take sodium chloride, NaCl, which is in solid form, reacting with silver nitrate, which is in liquid form. So when they are reacting, they will form AgCl. So solid, this is actually precipitate formation. Here the precipitate formation takes place, plus formation of sodium nitrate formation. So this is example of irreversible reaction. Similarly, second example we can discuss. Second example, simply we can say here another one, that is our acid base neutralization reaction. Acid base neutralization reaction, that is also come in the category of the irreversible reaction, right? This is also coming in the category of acid-base neutralization reaction. So if we take HCl, which is in aqueous condition, reacting with NaOH, which is also in aqueous condition, this on reacting it will form sodium chloride salt, which is in aqueous condition, plus water formation takes place. So this is only one step. Acid and base reacting to form salt and water. This is also a irreversible reaction. This is also a irreversible reaction. Another example, third, we can say displacement reaction. Displacement reaction. So displacement reaction is also a irreversible reaction. For example, zinc solid reacting with sulfuric acid, dilute sulfuric acid, which is in aqueous medium. On reaction, they will form zinc sulfate in aqueous medium, plus there is a release of hydrogen gas. So this is an example of the displacement reaction, and displacement reaction comes in the category of the irreversible reaction. So next, we are going to discuss more in detail about the chemical reactions. So chemical equilibrium concept, some more detail we are going to discuss. Now how can we tell whether the car is actually running at the speed of 80 meter per second, or we can say the 80 kilometer per hour? How can we tell? By some instrument only we can measure, right? Through the speedometer we get the idea. Similarly, there is actually a term called rate of reaction. Rate of reaction. Rate of reaction, short form ROR. Right? So rate of reaction, it tells the change in concentration of reactant, or we can say product, reactant or product. So change in concentration of reactant or product, we can say, divided by time taken, right? Divide by, we can say, time taken. It will give the rate of the reaction. Means how much amount of the concentration, means the reactant is reacting with each other and they are forming the respective product. How much change has been obtained? That change information will be given by the rate of reaction simply. Sometimes the rate of reaction is also represented as the velocity of reaction, or we can say speed of reaction. Both things are correct in that case. So this we can say rate of reaction, that is a change in concentration of reactant or product with respect to time. How much time it will take, that factor is there. So suppose there is a reactant R1, another reactant R2. Reactant R1 and R2, these are the reactant. They are actually forming the product. So here RF stands for the rate of forward reaction. They are forming product P1 as well as product P2. And product P1 and P2 can reverse also. They can go in backward direction. They can form the reactant R1 and R2 respectively. Right? So this one, here R1 and R2, these are the reactant. These are the reactants, and P1 and P2, these are the product. These are the products. So simply when we have to calculate the rate of forward reaction, so in this case when we discuss about the rate, how much amount they are forming, so that is decided by the rate. So hence we can say rate of forward. RF stands for the rate of forward direction. So RF stands for the rate of forward direction, means towards the product formation. So rate of forward direction RF, we can say simply as decrease in the concentration of R1 in time dt, and this is also equal to decrease in concentration of R2 given by time dt. So delta T, dt stands for change in time. R1 stands for decrease in the concentration of, means change in concentration of R1. Similarly, here we have the RF RB also. Similarly, we have the RB also. So RB stands for the rate of backward reaction. So here this is actually rate of forward reaction and rate of backward reaction. So rate of forward reaction represented by the RF and rate of backward reaction we represent by RB. So one is going towards the product formation, another one is going for the reactant formation simultaneously here, right? So at equilibrium what happened? Rate of forward reaction become equal to the rate of backward reaction. So we can say simply here, at equilibrium, rate of forward reaction is equal to the rate of backward reaction. Right? Rate of forward reaction become equal to the rate of backward reaction in that case. So simply we can say RF will become equal to the RB. RF become equal to that of the RB here. So simply we can say change in the concentration of the reactant with respect to time t. So this dr represents the change in the concentration of reactant and with respect to time. So dp here we can represent the change in concentration of the product, right? So in this case bracket R represents the concentration of reactant, and in bracket P represents the concentration of product. So simply some terminologies are there, some terms are there. In that case, what is actually the D bracket R? dr stands for, we can say simply change. So dr stands for change in concentration of reactant, right? Change in concentration of reactant. And similarly dp we can say it is equal to the, we can say change in concentration of product, change in concentration of product. Okay. And similarly another term is there, dt. dt we can say time period, means time taken. Okay. Or we can say simply time period, or simply time taken, or some people say, right, change in time also. That is also okay. Change in time means how much difference in time happen. That is actually we can represent by dt only. So this is the case. Certain graphs are there regarding this. So what we learn, at equilibrium rate of forward reaction become equal to that of backward reaction. So RF become equal to RP in this given scenario. Now some important graphs are there which is useful from exam point of view also. So most of the time the graph related questions are asked. So y-axis here, another axis, here we have the x-axis accordingly. So we are going to discuss about certain graphs. So on the x-axis I am mentioning bracket capital C. This stands for the concentration. This stands for the concentration, right? And here we take time. We take the time. So time can be in seconds also, can be minutes also, or can be hour also. On one side the concentration is there. Here it is 0. 0 stands for the origin. 0 stands for the origin. So when the time was 0, the concentration of reactant was R this much. So after a time period, what happened? The concentration of reactant start decreasing in this manner. It decreasing and then becomes similarly movement here. Similarly, the product is there. Product formation also happen. After a time means the reactant is changing into product. After a time period, so product formation, concentration of product will start increasing in this manner. And soon after a time period, what happen? They become constant. So here there is a concentration of product here and there is a concentration of reactant. So at this point here, at this point, what happened? At this point the state of equilibrium has been achieved. State of equilibrium is achieved. So at this state, what happened? The concentration of reactant as well as the concentration of product, the lines, in that case, this is a product concentration, this is actually the reactant concentration, both become parallel to each other. So during this moment, they are parallel to each other, the lines become always continuously parallel to each other. So hence, that state where the concentration of reactant as well as product, they becomes relatively constant to each other, they become parallel to each other, we can say they have attained the state of equilibrium also. So this is a first graph. So this graph, we can say graph 1, concentration versus time. This is a graph 1, that is between concentration versus time, right? This is a graph number 1, which is between the concentration versus time. Similarly, we can discuss another graph also accordingly between concentration and time. So here we have graph number 2 we are going to discuss. Concentration versus time. We are going to discuss the graph 2. So in the graph number 2, similarly same reaction is going to happen, but the thing is only difference in the lines only. The curves are slightly different, but the concept remains same only. So here we have drawn the x-axis and y-axis accordingly. In the x-axis we have the time. In the y-axis we have taken the concentration. We have taken concentration here. Right? Concentration given by this symbol in square bracket, that is C, concentration. So certain graph apart from this was observed that suppose the reaction, here there is a reactant R. Reactant R, after a time period they actually decrease in this manner and then become, after that become parallel to each other, right? After that they become parallel to each other in this manner. Similarly the product also. So once the reactant start forming, reactant actually start undergoing change to form the product. Similarly the product will also start forming in this manner and then become parallel to the concentration of the reactant curve. So this is actually the concentration of product. Now here what you observe here at this given point, see here, at this point what happened? The lines become parallel to each other. Here the state of equilibrium has been attained. State of equilibrium has been achieved, we can say. So concentration of reactant as well as the concentration of product, they become parallel to each other. So this one, from here the reaction will proceed in this manner, they will become relatively constant in that way. So another graph regarding this we have to discuss. Here we go, another one. So this was the graph number 2. Similarly, there is a third graph, graph number 3 here. Graph number 3. So graph number 3, in that case, we can simply show the order accordingly. Sometimes what happen, they both become merged. Concentration of reactant and concentration of product also merge with each other. So we can say another graph of concentration versus time. This is the third graph we are going to discuss. So here on the y-axis same concentration is there. On the x-axis same time is there. Here we have the concentration on x-axis, and here we have a time. Concentration we have on the y-axis and time on the x-axis accordingly. So when we go for this graph, when we draw this graph accordingly, here there is a reactant, here there is actually capital C. Here we have the concentration of reactant. So what happened? Concentration of reactant decreases and then becomes constant in this manner. Similarly, the product also with decrease in the concentration of reactant as the time goes by. So then what happened? The product also start forming in that manner. Product formation takes place and then they will become constant in this manner. Right? So this is a concentration of product. So here at this point we can say, at this point we can say the state of equilibrium has been achieved. So at this point we simply can say the state of equilibrium is achieved. So these are the three graphs of concentration, and one more graph of the rate of forward reaction and rate of backward reaction is there. So 4 graphs are total useful. Those 4 graphs, apart from the 4th graph, if any other graph which you are observing that is actually incorrect, we can say. So this is graph number 4. Graph number 4 here we have. That is the graph between rate of reaction versus time. Right? Rate of reaction versus time, we are going to plot the another graph here. Simply again you take the y-axis and here you take the x-axis accordingly. Y-axis we have taken and here we are taking the another axis, that is the x-axis here. Right? So on this side simply write rate on one side, and on other side you take the, so rate can be represented by capital R, and this on this side we take time accordingly. So rate of forward reaction, after a time period the rate of forward reaction will decrease in that case, right? Rate of forward reaction, in this way the here they will be decrease in that way. So this is RF, that is rate of forward reaction going in the forward direction. Similarly, the product formation is going to happen in that case. So towards the product formation, rate of forward reaction is going to observe. But side by side, if the products start reacting with each other, then what happen? The backward reaction also possess in this manner. Rate of backward reaction also happen in this manner. So this is your RB. So state of equilibrium was observed at this point. So from here actually what we observe, the state of equilibrium has been observed, or we can say state of equilibrium is attained here. So these are the 4 useful graph. Accordingly, they are very, very important from exam point of view also. Draw them carefully, it will be useful.